Welcome to the Resistance broadcast, everybody. I'm John. Thank you so much for joining us on TRB Live. So if you are with us and you're in the chat or you're just hanging out, don't need to be in the chat. Either way, you are with us, and we thank you for that. Welcome to the show. We got another good one because there's a lot of news to talk about. Bob Iger mouthing off. Well, not really mouthing off, just doing what CEOs do, which can be mouthing off, I guess. Donald Glover finally talking Lando. A lot to get into, but before I do, just want to say hello to James and Lacey. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I was excited to go to a Disturbed concert this weekend, but it got canceled. The singer came down with a sickness, so
that's how we're starting this.
All right.
A Disturbed reference? Lord. I was going to make fun of you for going to a Disturbed concert, but
that was my first concert ever, believe it or not.
Really? Mine was New Kids on the Block. Lacey, what was your first concert and how you doing?
I believe my first concert was Genesis with Phil Collins or John Mayer.
Yeah.
Because John Mayer's from Fairfield, Connecticut, which is around where I'm from. And I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk Star Wars. Let's do this.
Yeah. So if you are joining us live, welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, I am wearing the Belgian Prop Crew shirt. There it is from Celebration London. So thanks to Chris and Andy. Love you guys. Love the shirt. It's one of those shirts too that it didn't like shrink. It like just always fit me, and it's one of my favorite t-shirts. But anyway, if you are joining us live, thank you. We do have super chats available if you would like your comment read on the show. We are not doing Ask the Resistance tonight. We're doing Resistance transmissions later in the show. So if you did send in a post to that, we'll see if you made it on the show. But if you do have questions, we'll probably get back to those next week. So to get things going here, obviously some bad news, also some happy news. The bad news was obviously the passing of Carl Weathers unexpectedly, at least to public knowledge, unexpectedly. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Decades of on-screen performances for me, starting with Rocky, of course, as Apollo Creed, and I think without him, and even Sylvester Stallone had said in his sort of somber post about this, is that the movie probably doesn't work without what Carl Weathers brought to that, and that wound up winning, Best Picture and all that. And then all of a sudden, decades later, he finds his way into Star Wars later in his life and starts this new career. He's directing, and just seeing him at celebrations and how genuinely fun he seemed to be having so much fun doing this, and how he was with the fans. And speaking of the prop guys, they said he was a delight to be with backstage. So just a warm, awesome presence for someone of such talents. And he was a humbling presence too because of that. And he'll be sorely missed, not just, for Grief Karga and that sort of thing, but just, the impact he had as just a person, and his legacy will live on though. So I don't know, but did that hit you guys hard? Like all of a sudden, I remember I posted it in our chat, like, oh my God, Carl Weathers died. It's just one of those things. Whenever somebody that you are a fan of dies suddenly like that, it's just like this wave of shock.
Yeah, it felt like he's too young, or something. Like it was like surprising that it happened. You always expect people to live like a longer time, and it wasn't anything like an accident or something like that. It just seemed like it was like an old age type thing, but shocking to me because it's another situation. We're not really going to talk about the Gina Carano stuff, but it's another situation now that Mandalorian has to deal with, having a mainstay character just sort of like disappear, and they're just like not going to address it. It's unfortunate, and it's just upsetting. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm curious how they're going to handle that. But for me personally, it was definitely very shocking because it was another reminder of like, make every day count, because you never know what's going to happen to you or the people you care about and the people you love. He was just, like John said, so happy and funny. He was so funny. And all the clips people were posting from like Arrested Development, where he's like, take this bone, you put it in a cup with potato, you got a stew going. And the fact that that was all him. So
Yeah.
a little background knowledge that like if you don't like Arrested Development, you might not know this, but they called him to do this part and he was like, okay, but I don't want to make Apollo jokes the whole time. Like I'm over that. Can my guy be like super cheap? And they were like,
Yeah.
sure. And so like that whole like bit of like him going to Burger King and like that's all him.
Yeah.
And just seeing clips, of course, of Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, like he's so funny in that movie.
Predator. I mean, just so many.
I don't like those scary movies. So I like
I've probably seen Happy Gilmore more than any other movie.
oh my
Period.
god. The clip that someone was posting of the Adam Sandler bit where he like approaches him and at the batting cage and he's just like, he took my hand. And he's like, oh god.
And the kid in the background.
It's just so good. It's so good. And then he's in heaven or happy place, find your happy place. And he's like, I got my hand back.
Yeah. He's like, they wouldn't let me
Music
on the
keeps
tour. He's
playing
like,
in the
because
background.
you're black. He's like, no, alligator bit my damn hand off.
Yeah.
He was so good. He was so
He's so
good all the way
funny.
to the end, man. It's just like so it's so horrible. It sucks. But you know, he will live on and that legacy will always be there. So we'll always be able to revisit him and everything that he gave us. So that is a good thing. Because not everyone gets to do that. But rest in peace, Carl Weathers. But good news is happy birthday today to the maestro, John Williams, 92 years old today. Still working.
He was like, I retired. Psych.
Yeah. So just happy birthday to John Williams. He's not watching this at all, but just throwing that out there because he's the greatest of all time. And people throw out, you know, people say GOAT all the time and the greatest and stuff. That's the one thing Star Wars fans would be like, yeah, yep. We all 100%
I mean, movie
agreed.
fans would be like, yeah.
Exactly.
Soundtrack fans, yeah. Orchestral people, yeah.
So I'm going to try this new thing going forward. If there's ever like a fight with Star Wars fans, and it's always online because people just become the worst versions of themselves online. I just want to like pop in a comment, be like, John Williams, greatest ever, right? And see if that ends that fight. I don't know. Anyway, we do have one other thing that we need to speculate on that is going to be answered a little more than 12 hours from now, which is this whole Empire magazine thing that has everyone going crazy. So, James, I don't know if you have that there to pop up on the screen.
Yeah, I do. Give me 1 second. I didn't pull it up ahead of time.
So Empire magazine did a little tease on social media, and they posted an image with the Star Wars blue font with the starry background that says "Hello there," and then obviously says the logo on the bottom. And that so tomorrow 4 p.m. Their time, which they confirmed is should be 11 a.m. East, U.S. East, so 8 a.m. Pacific. But the bottom line here is it sent people crazy, and a lot of people seem to think that this is some sort of announcement, that this is an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 announcement. I want to get your guys' take on it, but you know, I've been out of the reporting game for a while, but Empire Magazine doesn't announce things. You know, if they were going to announce a new season or a new movie or a new show or something like that, that would come from Lucasfilm or you know something of that nature, but not a magazine like Empire Magazine. So what do you guys think this is? If you had to guess what this is, Lacey, I'll start with you. What do you think? If you had to speculate, we're going to have our answer in 12 hours, so not a big deal if we're wrong. What do you think this is? Because I have my guess, but I want to hear what yours is.
I don't think it's Kenobi because I know obviously hello there there's like 4 phrases that the press and or marketing or companies use when they're talking about Star Wars, especially people that aren't diehard fans but like know enough. And it's like hello there, the force is strong with blank.
Just like generally like galaxy far, far away, like added to.
Yes. If
join us next week in a galaxy far, far. Yeah.
If there was ever a phrase to take a shot on during May the 4th, it's the force is strong with blank.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand that phrase. I'm gonna guess that it's probably something with the Phantom Menace because it's the anniversary, maybe a photo shoot with a bunch of the people. or a behind the scenes discussion with George Lucas about the Phantom Menace, because it could be an interview with George Lucas. I don't think it's an announcement, because that would be really weird that they would announce it there. I would assume they would announce it more on like a Vanity Fair or Hollywood Reporter, or I don't know, Deadline. I guess Deadline had some scoops, but I don't think it's a
Or
show
Bob Iger would have said it yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, James, what do you think?
Well, I mean, Super Bowl usually kicks off a lot of big trailers and things, and we were sort of talking about how Disney Plus might have something, and it might incorporate the shows that are coming out coming soon. So you got, your Bad Batch and your Tales of the Jedi, but then obviously your two big like live action series that are also coming. So we might see some snippets on Sunday. And I thought, if that's the case, like maybe whatever this first show is, maybe they're going to start doing that. And if they're putting it out there in video format, then it might sort of be the beginning of the cycle for press for that show. You know what I mean? Like Sunday could say, we've got this coming and this coming and this coming, and then it says The Acolyte and it has the date, and then it's like, okay, well now we've announced the date. So then, this stuff. And so if the press cycle is starting for that show, then maybe this is having to do with that. But again, it feels like it's sort of an announcement of, first look at, kind of thing. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
What are you thinking, John?
Well, so I don't think I'm ruling out an announcement of a new movie or a new show or a second season of anything. I think most fans, for some reason, thought that Empire all of a sudden was going to be announcing seasons of shows. So, one, Empire's never done that. That's not what they do. Bob Iger would have said that yesterday, or Lucasfilm would put out a press release about this. Two, if they did have the exclusive rights to announce a new show or a new season of something, they wouldn't tease it the day before, because then scoopers, including ones that may be living around the area where these shows film, would snipe it and like put out their thing first and take all the glory on that. Two, a lot of people said, I think it's the Phantom Menace magazine for the 25th anniversary. It's possible it's that, but let me say this, and maybe I'm wrong here. I think that would be such a letdown. Like, why would you need to tease that with a hello there, which he doesn't even say in the Phantom Menace. He says it in Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. But why would you tease that you're doing a 25th anniversary magazine? Like, I guess it's going to be cool when they do that, but
because of everything that's happening today.
Because it's such a big phrase that everybody knows is Star Wars related.
I know, but I mean, why do you need to tease that you're going to be doing the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary?
Because everybody teases everything.
But to me, it's not a big deal. Like, it's going to come out and be like,
everybody teases everything. How many tweets do you see daily that are like,
but that's my
we
point,
have a big guest, you won't believe what's in my inbox?
But that's kind of my point, though. People now, you saw what everybody did. Now everybody's expectations are Obi-Wan season 2. Everyone thinks we're getting Obi-Wan season 2 now. People who aren't like dialed into knowing what like Empire does. So people are going to the mindset that tomorrow it's going to be Ewan McGregor and it's going to be this big announcement of Obi-Wan season 2. And then they're going to get a 25th anniversary cover of the Phantom Menace anniversary. And people are going to be like, what? Really?
But what if it is, though?
I think it very well could be. And it probably is. But I think that's a mistake. My hope is that they're teasing because they have something exclusive and new. And it's something for the Acolyte. It's like, first look at the Acolyte. I think that would be cool. That's something worth teasing people over. Not necessarily a 25th anniversary of a movie. They didn't tease 25th, 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. Like, why are you teasing 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace all of a sudden?
It is interesting with the timing being the Super Bowl, like James said. So it could be teasing something with them, but them also saying, hey, and this Sunday, a trailer is going to play over the Super Bowl.
But what does Empire have to gain on that? Like, I feel like whatever this is exclusive to Empire, not like a paired, promotional thing.
I think that
what if it's the teaser before the teaser, and then there was a teaser?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, the actual teaser.
People treat trailers, even though they're commercials, like they're big events now.
But Empire is a magazine. Like it's going to be whatever they're doing is going to be
digital
either,
magazine.
yeah, but it's either going to be stills or an interview, right? Isn't it? That's what
Right, but
Empire
they
does.
could still release information in that interview. How many times we've seen people screenshot
Yeah.
interviews and highlight it and stuff?
My hope it's Acolyte stuff. If it's the Phantom Menace, I think it's a little silly that they put everyone in a frenzy over 25 years of the Phantom Menace. That's cool,
I mean,
but
if I was Lucasfilm, I'm not saying this is like the best plan, but if I was Lucasfilm and I was spending a bunch of money on a trailer for the Super Bowl, I might also go to an outlet and say, "Hey, can you tell everybody a couple days before
Yeah,
that there's
100%.
gonna be a big Super Bowl trailer?"
I don't think that's how that works. But I don't know.
I don't think it's how it works, but it sort of makes sense in the sense of like it's another just way to advertise that something's coming. But you are right in the sense that like I don't know, it seems kind of silly to like tease the tease for the trailer, which is a tease for the show. It's like, oh my gosh.
Like Empire Magazine isn't going to be like, yeah, we want this exclusive to tease a teaser for a TV show. That just doesn't make sense to me. So it's something clearly having to do with their magazine that is going to be something exclusive. And if it is the Phantom Menace thing, fine. I think they put fans into a bit of a frenzy for nothing. But it's still, whatever. But I don't think people should go into tomorrow expecting a new show.
What did you think it was?
I think it's going to be Acolyte. First look at Acolyte. That's what I think.
Okay.
It's gonna be.
Then why would they use hello there?
Report?
Because of the reason you said. They have their trades and magazines have their stock Star Wars quotes they use that aren't in context. It doesn't mean this is about Obi-Wan, in my opinion. So It's just like, hello there, we're here. Hi, hello there. We're using a Star Wars line because we're cute and clever, and this is what we're going to do. Because Phantom Menace, hello there, doesn't work either. Even though he's in it, he doesn't say it in that movie. So if it is 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace and people are happy, awesome. I think it's going to be a cool magazine, but teasing it, I think is a little silly.
Kenny in the chat's going, yeah, Lacey, it's print and digital. I know yeah. Empire's print and digital. I'm saying because there's a digital side, they would include something digitally that would then accompany their article online, which would drive you to the online article as well as buying it. You know what I mean? Like, so that you buy the article for the interview, but then if you go to their interview online, you could see additional information and or a teaser or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just cautioning people, don't go into tomorrow expecting Obi-Wan season 2 announced. Happy to be wrong. No big deal to me. It's just, to me, Empire Magazine doesn't do that type of stuff. And if it is an Obi-Wan season 2, you can expect it probably from Lucasfilm, unless Lucasfilm gets sniped by scoopers or something like that. But either way, it's going to be something cool with Star Wars, so we'll all love it. I just hope people didn't get their hopes up if it is not what they're expecting. That's all. All right, now we do have some stuff to talk about that hopefully is going to happen. So, James, why don't we fire up the old Resistance report?
It's the Resistance.
It's funny because I think like the intention was that was going to be just like a light thing that we should talk about, but we probably should have included that in Resistance report.
James,
we talk so much.
I see we have a super chat. It looks like it's a very important one, so we should probably get to it.
Okay. Well, before we get to the first story, we'll do that.
So from Fort Worthian, what up, man? How's it going? Thanks for the super chat. He said, TRB, Lacey should submit her draft picks too. Sorry, fellas, but think she would win. What are my draft picks for? What?
So we did this episode of the podcast on Monday.
What was
that was about the 10 most underrated performances in Star Wars.
Oh.
But we drafted, we took turns drafting, so it was 5 from me, 5 from James, and if he picked one of mine, I can't use it, that type of thing.
So who did you guys say?
I won. What did I say, James?
I win.
How do you win if it's between two people?
Well, he likes to think that he like asked the main chat on our Patreon who did well, and everybody's like, I like your picks, John.
These were the picks. So I'll run through it real quick. So this was the order of the draft. I had first pick, and I went with Mark Hamill in The Empire Strikes Back, specifically on Dagobah. James went next, and he picked Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, just in general. Then James had another pick because we did snake style, and he sniped me. He picked Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. Then I came back with Sam Witwer as Maul, and then David Prowse and anyone else who brings Darth Vader to life physically. Then James went with Ronald Falk as Dexter Jetster, just solely to make Brian Ward happy. And then he went with Lupita Nyong'o as Maz. And then my last two picks were the Millennium Falcon in the Kessel Run. Incredible performance. And Mark Lewis Jones as Captain Kennedy in TLJ. And then James finished us off with Captain Panaka, Hugh Quarshie in The Phantom Menace. So that was the draft.
Not to put you on the spot in the middle of a show.
Well, Lacey can think about it, and then if
Oh, I didn't mean to click that. Sorry.
Even if it's like one or two or something, you're just thinking underrated performances.
Underrated though. That's the thing, is like, how do you determine what's underrated?
Exactly.
I guess that's the question for John. John, how do you determine what's an underrated performance? Because you guys are saying underrated. Like Alden Ehrenreich, I kind of agree, because you have a ton of people that are like, he sucked. So that's like an underrated performance. But all those other ones I feel like aren't underrated because people like those performances.
Well, I think so on a couple of them, I don't think most people would even be able to tell you the name of the person who even did that character in some of those instances.
Well,
in other characters, I did Diego Luna
from Chewbacca is one that I would pick, because nobody really knows that it's him inside the suit. I'd choose Jonas Sotomo, who's also Chewbacca. That people don't really. People underestimate both of them in the costumes. Probably K2SO.
That was on my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who does him?
Yeah, of course I do. I'm blanking right now. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I got you. That was on my list because I was like, I think most people know the actor, know the character
as well. What's his name?
Don't know that he did that character. Yeah.
Yes. What's his name? It's gonna drive me bananas.
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk. Yes.
All right.
Gosh.
We do have to. I know we have a lot to get to.
Okay, come back to me at the end of the show, and I'll list my 5.
Well, you've done it. You've done it. You've named 4 already.
3.
So here we go, James. Yeah, let's see what's going on with another great performance in Star Wars that hopefully is continuing.
Right. So a Hollywood Reporter article came out, and it was them interviewing Donald Glover for the show that's coming out, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that is happening. And it was a very long and extensive article that covered a lot of the drama that went into the show, including the stuff with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I saw lots of headlines about it. But we're a Star Wars podcast, so we're going to notice the one things they did talk about Star Wars. And the biggest thing that sort of just came out of it was, in general, it's like, he wants to be Lando. He wants to do it. This is why he did it before. This is why he wants to continue doing it. And it's because he personally really likes the character, and his kids really like Star Wars. We're just going to kick it off with that. John, what are your thoughts on Donald Glover and his Lando chatter?
You know, I'm liking what's happening right now with actors and talent, that side of the aisle in Hollywood, especially post-strikes, sort of not being afraid to be candid about their thoughts on the industry right now. And there's this, Dakota Johnson had a big thing recently that's getting a lot of attention about her saying, they're not trusting the creative people. They're not trusting the artists. The studios think they know what the people want. And same type of tone here with Donald Glover saying, like, I wanted to control this thing because I wanted to make the movie I wanted to make. I don't want to make the movie that everybody else can make. And I like that. That's an artist. That's, and also his answers are perfect. And he said, because I love those characters, he was plural, which got me happy, because that means maybe we are getting more of the characters from Solo in this Lando movie. And then, of course, him saying, because my kids love Star Wars. And that's the most George Lucas answer you could possibly have when talking about why you want to make Star Wars. George Lucas keeps saying, grown men get mad at me because they want tough guy movies. And I hate to remind them that I made these movies for kids, children. And Glover gets that. and I believe everything he's saying. I think there's a genuineness to his words, and just the fact that here we are in now, we can hit that timestamp of present day, February 2024. Donald Glover talking about his Lando movie in the present is a great sign for me, because I know we were getting people recently were like, I don't know if that Lando movie is going to happen. It boosted my confidence that it is going to happen. And also falls in line with our, what our next story is going to be about Bob Iger and Disney Plus. There seems to also be a trend going on of removing things from that up to theatrical. And I'm really excited. I hope we start hearing more about this movie this year, and hopefully leading to some form of production. And of course, cherry on the sundae would be this sort of being our opportunity for a sequel to Solo. So I'm rooting for Donald Glover. I liked everything he had to say about this, and I hope it happens.
Yeah, Lacey, thoughts on Donald Glover's comments?
I think Donald Glover is one of those people that's like insanely talented on so many different levels that anytime I hear him talk about like the things that he's doing, you're just like, I could never be on that level of talent. Like in this interview alone, they're talking about how he's acting. He, ran this show. He's doing Atlanta. Then they're like, do you think he'll do a comedy again? And he's like, oh, maybe. And then he's talking about Bill Burr, like talking to Bill Burr and Chris Rock and like whether he'll do it again. And then they're like, Childish Gambino. And he's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know if and I'm like, this guy is so extremely. So I want to set that up, that this guy has so much talent that I couldn't be more confident that he's going to do something awesome, because he's made it clear from interviews previously to now that he is not going to waste his time on something that's not worth it.
Right.
And there's nothing I appreciate more. And I think this is definitely a post-COVID thing, which he has said before, of appreciating that the time that you have, which we were just talking about with, Carl Weathers, appreciating the time that you have here on Earth and doing what you care about, because there's no time like the present, and why waste your time on something you don't care about? So the fact that he's really developing this idea and doing what he loves and saying like, yeah, I'm putting my time and energy into this is fabulous, because he was one of the standout parts of Solo Star Wars Story. I think he's something that everybody agreed on was like over the top awesome. I loved him talking about how he sat down with Billy D. Williams and was like, hey man, what do you think? And Billy D wasn't even paying attention to him because he was, quote, looking at the waitress. Like that.
While saying, just be charming.
Yeah, just be charming. He's like looking at the waitress, which is so Lando of him to be doing. Which I love. So the thing about this, though, that makes me a little nervous, which I feel like as Star Wars fans collectively, we all have anxiety and trauma and nervousness when it comes to new projects right now. He's talking about how much control he wants. And he says he's a control freak, which I appreciate, because I can be a control freak sometimes. I think everybody can, about things that they care about, which we've seen pushback in the past with many a creative with Lucasfilm, where they're like, no, you're going to do what we say, or no, you're going to let us have input. And he's saying here, like, I'm going to be painted as a control freak, but I have a vision and I want to see that vision through. So I can't help but be a little nervous that I'm like, are they going to let him see his vision through? Are they going to push back on him? Are they going to tell him what to do? Are they going to cause issues? Because we all collectively know that they have in the past. That, Story Group, not necessarily Story Group, but like people at Lucasfilm, maybe Story Group, Kathleen Kennedy. We see it in interviews. We see it behind the scenes where people are like, yeah, I had meetings with Lucasfilm and they blew me off. Like, I just hope that they let him do his thing, because everything that he's done so far in his career has been pure magic. And there's no reason that this wouldn't be the same. Like, this would be any different than that. I love that he does bring up his kids. I think that's super important and gets lost sometimes in Star Wars among the fan base, is that, I want to see death and I want to see a rated R Star Wars and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, come on, guys, let's remember that like it's also for kids. And that's what made it so successful, is because you can relate to it at any point in your life from some different perspective. So I like that, because it makes me think that he's making it with his kids in mind as well. Yeah, I love that. And he talks about like creatures and doing cool stuff. And yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to really add to that. I'm very excited for the show. I've been very understanding of what a Lando show could be, including even little bits of comedy, which he obviously can handle. And I think, like, in a way, like, I wasn't like a big fan of the Haunted Mansion movie. So in a way, like, when I sort of heard that it wasn't right to do it the way that they did it, but they did move away from the one person. They said, who's going to be writing it now? Donald and his brother. And it's like, oh, well, shoot, that actually, that sounds like an upgrade in a
Mhm.
way. And so I've been even more excited about it. And I've also been on record for saying, like, he didn't seem like he was really that into it. Like Kathleen Kennedy being like, it's happening. And he's like, maybe we're talking, you know, he's been
Mhm.
kind of like that. But on a number of occasions now, including this one, it seems like he is more devoted to it, as John was saying too, than he ever has been. And it actually feels a lot more confident than it has in the past. So I'm actually thinking that he is currently in the process of working on it and he's feeling good about it, which means that if he is in fact as controlling and has this vision and is going to see it the way through and he's going to push through all that, it makes me feel confident that this movie is actually on the way. So I
Yeah.
think we can all start to get excited the more he talks about it, that it's going to happen. So get excited for Lando, I guess.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Should we talk about Bob Iger? Because there was an earnings call yesterday at Disney and they talked a lot about different things. We'll talk about one of those things in our next story. But among all of the Disney Plus subscribers and the way they look to move up in the future with income and all sorts of stuff, the things that we got from Star Wars out of this was that the Mandalorian and the Grogu movie is going to be the first movie for sure.
Mhm.
That's coming in 2026. We actually got a image, like an official like image of the title. I should have brought that up. I maybe can when we're working on this, but we have the.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Are we sure that that's because I don't I didn't see that on Star Wars. I don't know where that came from, so I don't even know if that's real, but it's going around. So
I'll look into it here after a second. And then Acolyte and Skeleton Crew are coming this year, as he said. So it's, I mean, we sort of already knew that. So, Lacey, I'm bouncing back at you first on this one. Any thoughts on Bob Iger's comments? Not including the video game stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, I was actually going to talk about that because I did.
Okay, that's our next story.
Oh,
So-
that's fine because I don't know jack about video games. So
All right. Well, you go first, John. Go ahead.
right. Well, are you sure? You're more
Yeah.
than welcome. Yeah,
I did a
okay.
ton of research into the video game stuff, so I feel like
Perfect.
it's my time to
See,
shine.
this is why this works. This is why this podcast is a dyad or triad, whatever. So yeah, the Bob Iger stuff, like I like connecting dots and I like finding patterns and stuff. And I remember it wasn't that long ago, maybe a year ago, whenever he came back, he was like, we're going to lean back into our IPs, sequels, franchises, the familiar, all that stuff. And I like that as long as the stuff's made well. So yeah, he gives us the whole, the Mandalorian is making its debut on the big screen, and that's going to be our first Star Wars movie in 2026. He didn't say a date, so but he did say the year, so we are getting it that year, so that's good. So in 2 years, we're getting our next Star Wars movie in theaters. Very cool.
Didn't he say it was the first one though?
He said it's the first one.
Yeah.
Now, as of now, that's May 2026.
Right.
We've seen them erase dates. We've seen them give dates to other things. So we'll see. But as of now, Iger's saying 2026 is a lock for the Mando movie. Favreau, I'm in. I love it. And then, of course, he said Acolyte and Skeleton Crew this year, which is cool. But then, you start thinking about other things that have just come out recently. And like the Moana thing came to my mind and how that was going to be a Disney Plus series as a follow-up. But now that's becoming Moana 2, and it's coming out in theaters this fall. We saw the 1.3 million subscriber loss for Disney Plus, even though the price increase has led to a revenue increase for Disney Plus because they sustained enough people with that higher price to offset the cut in subscribers. But to me, it's clear they're shifting away from original programming on Disney Plus and what they're going to do with the melding in with the sports and Hulu. I think Disney Plus is going to be more of a hub of great content, like more so than not, a hub of great content that already exists and it's going to live there, and you're going to be able to go watch your stuff you've already seen and
not
that sort
own
of
it.
stuff. And not own it. Yeah. But I think there's going to be a big shift away from original content made for Disney Plus by the big IPs. I think there's going to be a massive slowdown with Marvel. That's probably already happening. We haven't heard about any new Star Wars shows coming that are going to be made for Disney Plus beyond what's already in the pipeline, being Ahsoka 2, Andor 2, and then these two shows we just talked about, Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. I think any plans for a future Boba Fett might have been now axed, and they're shifting back to theatrical. So with Moana being the first, now we hear Donald Glover's brother revealed that Lando is now a movie. It seems like Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, all the IPs were brought in, the presidents, whoever's running those, and saying, like, we're making a shift. Which projects of yours do you want to move forward with? Which can be converted to movies? This is our plan now. So I think that's my biggest takeaway from all this. He didn't outrightly say that, but when you combine all the things he has said, plus all the shifts that are happening across different IPs, it seems clear to me that original content is being pulled back from Disney Plus, and they're realizing that where they're going to be able to make money is in the theaters still first with this stuff, and then put it on Disney Plus, after the fact. Because I keep thinking about, and I liked Andor, but $250 to $300 million to produce that show. How did it make money for Disney? And it didn't. And and you don't see people buying Andor action figures or Andor merch. Kids are not watching Andor, so it's a very niche audience. It's gonna be something that Star Wars can hang its hat on as a prestige level of filmmaking for television. But beyond that, the bottom line is money, and that show is not making money. And then you look at how they had to cut corners for Obi-Wan and stuff. And I think they're realizing we need to prioritize these IPs and how special they are. And we need to give them everything they need to be good. And to do that for Star Wars is big budget theatrical films, and not let's cut corners here. Let's cast, people who've never acted before, like your Gina Carano's, who apparently was only, making $25,000 an episode. That's why you got Sasha Banks. That's why you got Lizzo. That's, stuff like that. Let's bring our IPs back and give them the respect they deserve, get them back in the theaters, make money that way, and then we'll see what happens down the road. So it seems like a big shift happening in terms of how the content's being made for Star Wars, which more importantly than the others. But when I combine what happened with the Lando thing to the same thing happening with Moana, it seems like a big global thing with Disney, more than just one franchise versus another.
That's good dot connecting there. Lacey, what are your thoughts on what Bob Iger said? And then you can move into the video game stuff, because I'll comment on the video game stuff as well. I have a lot to say about that.
I get nervous because it seems like there's a huge shift, which we've seen. And I think it was definitely in reaction to the strikes and whatnot, and Disney losing money. And from the streaming service as well, that they're pushing into the theaters, which we've been saying for a while is what their priority is, because you make more money in movie theaters. That being said, when they immediately shift these things to the movie theater, I can't help but ask, are they worthy of a movie? Because like Moana 2 is coming, right? So I love Moana. It's like one of my favorite Disney movies. But Lin-Manuel Miranda's not doing the music for it, which is one of the reasons it's such a classic Disney movie. So you can't help but think, like, how are they moving forward without him? And like, it seems like a very kind of, I don't know. And then they're announcing like Moana's doing live action, but then they're doing a Moana 2. It just seems like kind of all not really figured out, and kind of what you were saying, John, which they're shifting, but they're shifting while also trying to manage what they've already said in the past few years. And it's just kind of very much in flux. And I think it's because what happened with Chapek and then Bob coming back, and then realizing with the strikes that he's not looking great and he's losing money for the company. And now he's reshifting everything to get people back into the movie theaters. but I feel like these decisions are very reactive. They're not the kind of proactive decisions that we've seen from Disney in the past. So I'm interested to see how they eventually turn out. One of those being this Fortnite decision, which they announced that they're doing this big kind of partnership with Epic Games, who does Fortnite, for $1.5 billion. They an equity stake in it, and they're working together to make this crazy online world where people can be a part of it and shop and do all these things. And yay, Disney! It reminds me very much of Ready Player One. Like, they're trying to build this world that you can go operate in and be a part of the Disney stories while also spending more money, seemingly. The weird thing about this for me is that, Fortnite currently coming into 2024, the statistics for Fortnite are that it has 500 million registered players, and 62.7% of them are between 18 and 24. 90% of Fortnite players are men. 90%.
90?
90%.
Come on, ladies.
And then 78% of them prefer to play on a console. United
85%
States,
of them are single. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that, but it's just they play on average 6 to 10 hours weekly on this platform. So I can't help but question the decision to buy this group, this demographic, in addition to obviously the technology side, which they talk about, which they're like, oh, we can do so many great things with technology.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm brought back to a conversation and or interview Bob gave back in like 2012 to 2014-ish, where they stated that Disney bought Lucasfilm to get this specific audience, the young male audience or male fans, because they
Right.
already had female fans with Disney princesses and all these other things. And that's also why they bought Marvel, is because they wanted to expand their fan base into men. So I find it very interesting that they're buying Fortnite, seeing as it's 90% men, and seemingly they're trying to make it into a world that's very much, I would say, driven to probably a female audience. Because I don't play Fortnite, but I know I've watched videos of people playing Fortnite, and they like go blow each other up and like fight and stuff. So I don't necessarily know if like someone's gonna log on and be like, yeah, let me go decorate my princess outfit in Fortnite. I guess I'm still not grasping what the point is, unless they're building this in addition to Fortnite, because it seems like from the picture,
I don't think it is Fortnite. I think all they're doing is they're using the Fortnite engine to build a new world.
to build
And
a new,
if you
'cause they
have
said it's
Fortnite characters, those Fortnite characters will be able to enter into the Disney world.
interesting.
The way I see it is they're building a digital park. They're building
That
a
makes
digital
sense.
park.
That
And
makes
I think
sense.
this is possibly, and this is speculation on my part, they did not say that at all, but Disney and Disney Plus is a big partner, one of the first launch partners for Apple Vision Pro. And so it makes me wonder if this is also Disney saying we're going to play in that world of like a virtual sandbox. We're going to create these worlds. If you are an owner of that product, you'll be able to access it in virtual reality and be able to do the things in using that device. But to me, it seemed like what they were doing is they were taking the Fortnite engine in the Fortnite world and technically connecting it, but it's not Fortnite. What they're doing is they're creating a brand new world website experience that you can, kind of create your own character or maybe use other characters. I'm not really sure, but like all of that experience is going to go into, and you're going to be able to walk around in this world and how things interact and stuff. And you will be able to bring Fortnite characters in, and you probably will be able to take your characters and just add them to Fortnite. I think Fortnite will understand it so you can play in that world if you have these characters too. But I think it's a mutual thing where Fortnite is saying, yes, we will build this for you and we'll help cultivate this world because we think Fortnite fans would like Disney stuff, right? That's the Disney approach too, but it's the other way around too. Fortnite is probably also looking to bring Disney fans into the game because they're looking at their audience saying it's like, it's just this age group and just a small demographic. So if people are doing here and they're playing and interacting, they're more likely also going to be like, and then what's the game world? Like you just walk into the Fortnite world and all of a sudden you're like, I've never played this before, but it looks fun, you know? And I think that's where everything is like synergy.
Sure. I'm saying that if your audience is 90% male, 18 to 24, and they play that game to blow each other up and to be competitive and play games, I highly doubt they're going to be like, let me walk over to the Disney store and buy this thing and then make a character. Like, they go on there to fight each other. They don't go on there to go shopping. And I think that it's interesting that they're trying to seemingly also attract this audience, while also saying, hey, we have this audience of people that do like to buy Disney stuff and do like to walk around, but those people aren't already online doing those things. Like, yes, what they're trying to create is a brand new environment for people to interact with. I'm saying I don't know if that's going to work because they've already done these things through other places that didn't take off. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like,
No, I don't
different
know what
types.
you're saying.
So
Where?
like different the reason Fortnite is so popular is because people go on and play video games. They go on, they beat each other up, they play. There's a competitive aspect. Yes, they play with each other. Same thing with Halo, with Battlefront, all these things. They're saying we're making this world where you can go hang out and do things with Disney. You can buy and play and have fun and shop. Why would you want to do that online? I guess is what I'm saying. Like, what's the intention of having that audience go there when you can just say, hey, I'm going to just go to the park?
Well, first of all, I think they are intending for that audience to come over here, but I think what they're doing is they're building this world to
Sure.
make new people who have never done anything like that want to join. So like, I don't have a Fortnite account. I don't think any of us do, but the idea would be is like, if they built a virtual park, then we would be like, oh, I'll sign up for that. Like, that sounds really cool. I'd like to create my own character, walk around the park and do fun things. And it doesn't have anything to do with Fortnite, really. Like, I don't have to ever encounter Fortnite if I don't want to go into that world.
Like you could walk around a digital version of like the Magic Kingdom. Is that what you're talking about?
They haven't determined that yet.
Yeah, well, it seems like that from the images. It looks to me like what they're doing is they're building like a video game world where it's like different sections of parks. Like we have this sort of like Disney Plus area, and we have like a Marvel area, and we have a Star Wars area.
I don't
It all
like where
kind of
we're
like
going.
connects and stuff. What?
I do not like where we're going as a society, but that's just my point of view.
I
I go to
all I'm
Disney.
saying,
Sit on my couch and go
Right.
to Disney.
all I'm saying is that it's going to be hard to convert people
It's
to
fun.
get to here. Is that the converting people to go to this thing right now? The people that they're talking about with this technology, that use this technology, that they've proven the case for, which is what Disney bought. Disney bought, hey, you've proven that this is super popular with dudes 18 to 24. They really like it. The technology's great. They love it. We can take this technology and make it popular over here. But they bought it in the case study of who's using it currently. If they didn't have that audience currently, Disney would not even be looking at it.
I
So
sort
that's-
of disagree, though.
and you
I
can,
sort of
and you're
think
welcome to do
if
that.
they
But let me
want to
finish my
develop
point.
this,
Let me
who
finish
do
my
they
point.
get to do it? Yeah.
Let me
Okay.
finish my point. So my point is that when you get to this new audience that they're claiming they're going to have on this platform, it's not going to translate necessarily. You now have to convince those people to now join. How many people do you think are going to go out and buy this specific engine when they can just go buy any other video game? Is what I'm saying. It's just an interesting choice for Disney. I'm interested to see where they're going with it and what they plan to do with it.
I must have a different understanding of what it is than you guys, because I'm thinking
I have zero understanding. So.
I'm thinking they've decided to create their virtual world, their metaverse, if you will, and so they're building out this thing, and they're like, but we can't do it. Like, we don't have the manpower to make that world, so we're going to partner up with the one company that is capable of handling the mass amount of people that we're expecting to join this new Disney interactive world. And in the handshake agreement, yes, they're going to also tie in Fortnite, even though Fortnite is not technically a Disney property. So like, it's really a Disney thing that they're doing, but they're having the people at Epic build it for them and then including Fortnite into it because obviously they would, because it's Epic that's building it. But they're saying
I
like
hear
it's
you. I understand what you're
Star
saying,
Wars,
James.
it's Avatar, and then
I'm
they're also saying
saying
it's Fortnite. And I don't think it's for Fortnite people. It's for us.
It's a lot of money to be investing in a digital world that they don't have a proven case study that it's even going to work. Whereas when they have parks that they're not adding any new attractions to, they have content that they're not putting out really well, that they have movies that they need to put out. There is a lot of things that you can do for $1.5 billion, including pay your own people
I'm
at work
not
at
necessarily
Disney.
arguing that it's a good business decision. I'm saying
Right.
I want to make sure that, because I saw a lot of people saying like, I guess more Disney characters are coming to Fortnite, and I'm like, that's not what it is. It seems like it's a whole other entity that also technically includes Fortnite.
So if I like want to go on the Pirates of the Caribbean in my Apple face and I'm on my couch, like I have to light bromine scented candles to get that smell. Like there's just a lot I got to do. I'd rather just go to Disney.
That's not necessarily what it is, John.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like you're literally going to the park and getting jumped.
Excuse me for trying to add some humor to this conversation.
All this stuff gets so overblown. It gets made fun of all the time, and I'm like, we have other ways of entertaining ourselves that isn't like going to a place and doing a thing. We watch people play sports. We don't play sports. We read adventures, not go on adventures. We read the words, and it's not very interactive. I get no wind. I get no sound effects. I get no smell from a book, but I can use my imagination and go into the world. This is just another way to entertain yourselves. We're creating a world. If they do the Apple Vision Pro thing, yeah, cool. Put that on, be massively, surrounded in the environments and stuff, and it's just cool and interactive, and it'll cost money, but if they think it'll make money, if they think it's worth doing, I say it's cool. I'm interested to see where it goes.
I have a total hot take right now. The Apple Vision Pro thing is so dumb. It's so dumb. People look so dumb wearing it. It's so stupid. I don't like it whatsoever. I saw a video of some guy driving a Cybertruck wearing a pair of those goggles. It was like the prime example of like everything that's wrong with where technology is going.
Back to the Future 2. We've arrived.
I'm sorry if someone listening is now offended. You are welcome to like it if you do. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's so stupid. Like people saying like, oh, well now
I have Oculus.
Now you can do your job on the subway. Great. So now you're giving companies another reason to have you work all the time. Perfect. Yeah. Great. I'm sorry. I think it's so dumb.
I'll get it if I can watch the Titanic sink.
Oh my God, you're still on that with the John just wants to feel like he's dying. Like really wants to experience.
I want to experience historical events as they happened. Who doesn't want to do that?
James is severely offended right now.
I want to buy a movie ticket.
No comment, I guess. I think that's
You're welcome
awesome.
to comment. That's fine.
You cannot say anything bad about Apple. It will upset James. And that's just how
I have an iPhone. I have AirPods. I have a MacBook. I like all those things.
All of those things were made fun of and
I have a watch.
And they don't make any sense, and it's the stupidest thing. And why would
I never made fun of any of those things. I'm just
saying everybody does, and it's always like, okay, give it a couple years and we'll understand how it changes everything.
James, you'll laugh last when in Star Wars Celebration 2035 we're all at home at Celebration like this.
I would rather do that and see it in 3D and be able to interact than just on a screen.
Then go to Japan? What are you trying to say?
No. Then see it on a screen.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what comes of this. And James, any thoughts on the, before we get into Resistance Transmissions, of course, about, Disney Plus and the shift and your thoughts on Iger?
No, not in particular. I think like it's a weird, like, I've had this discussion before when it comes to Disney, just as far as like, there's a lot of people who complain that there's too many people at the park. And then it's like, okay, well then how do you get rid of people? You raise the prices. But then if you raise the prices, then people complain that the prices are too high. And so how do you do that? Well, you lower the prices, you know? So it's this kind of like ongoing thing. I don't really know what is considered a win, really. If you raise the prices of Disney Plus, then you just cut out a lot of people. So now less people are watching your programming. So you spent all this money on a show and now only like 10 people are watching it. And it's like, it seems, yeah, you made your money back, but like, what are we really doing then? And so it kind of makes me wonder if it is actually a good move to raise a price just so you can pay off what it costs to maintain the thing, I guess, or like keep it relevant. I don't know. It's a weird argument, but at the end of the day, literally everybody seems to be raising their prices. It's crazy. Like something else I just saw went up like another $10 a year or something. And I was like, it's like the companies kind of forget like there are people that are actually paying for it. You know, it's not you paying for it. It's us paying for it. And it's frustrating. So I don't know.
I do have to give some credit in the chat because people are ragging on me, which I said it was a spicy take. I said that, you know, people are going to hate me for it, and that's okay. Matt in the chat said, you can't hate on Vision Pro while drinking out of a Stanley. I do have a Stanley mug. That is 100% correct. I do. I have a couple. I have Yetis too. I have all different types of mugs. It helps me drink water. That being said, you're 100% right. I can't pick on one and not pick on the other. They both suck. They both suck. They both are probably terrible for the environment for multiple reasons. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys in the chat and listeners too. I'm probably going to get it online. You guys are always honest with me. I appreciate that. And I ask for it. So
well, we're always honest, you know,
bring it.
So it's just how it goes. James, we got anything else?
No, I think that's really it for the news portion, but we can move on to our last section.
All right. Let us
do it.
Do it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here it is. Surprise.
It's time for Resistance Transmissions. I love this segment, guys. I'm just laughing at everybody ragging at me in the chat. All right. Resistance Transmissions. This is where you guys get to be part of the show and you get to respond. So John puts up a crazy, wacky situation on Twitter, aka X, aka whatever you want to call it. And you guys give your answers and I read them here live on the show. I don't know what the scenario is. I don't know what you said. And we discuss it. So if any of you brought up the VR goggles in your answers, it's going to be like wild. All right. So the question is, pick any or situation. Pick any Star Wars character. What would a bumper sticker on their personal ship say? Awesome. First up is Haas. What up, Haas? At Haas_Aslam, ASLAM. He said Mandos would say Baby Yoda on board.
I like it.
I got to tell you, those do exist. And when first like Grogu Mandalorian came out, that was like the first thing everybody made on Etsy was baby on board signs. And then Disney went through and had everybody take them down because they made
of course own. Yes.
Yeah. Next is Sean Campbell at NY Isles 45. What up, Sean? He said Qui-Gon, I break for Gungans.
Get out of here, get out of the way.
Next is Andrew Staley at Deuce_Staley. What up, Andrew? He said Uncle Owen, proud supporter of the Tatooine Volunteer Fire Department.
Oh,
oh no,
Andrew!
No,
with a burn.
Next is Mike Ramori at Drum Jedi. What up, Mike? I think he's in the chat too. He said Weequay bartender. It's called Freetown now. Freetown. Next is Joey Sack at Joey Sack. He said, didn't Djarin use this to have a This Is the Way bumper sticker, but he needs a new one. And then Joey responds, included a gif of a Razor Crest being blown up.
That did happen.
He does need a new one.
They should make like GIF bumper stickers somehow. Like I know they make like LED little things, but it should just be real tiny and just kind of like do a thing.
Mm-hmm. Next is Semperfi Danny at Semperfi Danny. What up, Danny? And Mark, who listens with Danny. Lando Calrissian, my other ship is a Falcon. noise.
Was the Falcon.
Oh, was the Falcon. My bad.
Yeah.
Missed a word there. Pedro at Pedro Gringas. What up? He says, Darth Maul, I'm still looking for the last guy that cut me off. He's still looking
Damn.
for him.
Must have been before Rebels.
Yeah.
And then more 5150 at more 5150. What up? Said Yoda, if you can read this, too close you are. Too close you
I
are.
think is that a real bumper sticker? I feel like I've seen that before.
I don't know. That's clever though.
Which means I've been too close to somebody, probably.
Yeah.
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 Maybe. You were in an accident.
I was T-boned. What do you mean I was in an accident?
That's it. You guys are funny. All right. Back to you, John.
I don't see anything. Oh, yes, I do. A Baby Yoda one that says too close you are, which is funny because that's not.
People just assume they talk like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have bumper stickers?
I'm not touching my new car with a bumper sticker. Get
I have
that
a
out of here.
Rebel insignia on the back, but it's not really like a bumper sticker. It kind of like is like a medallion that is
As like
physical.
a magnet?
No, it has like an adhesive on the background, but it's like a plastic piece that's like shiny that goes on there.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm very curious what this whole thing with Empire is tomorrow. Like, I have a feeling that it is just going to be like the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary, and people are going to be all pissed off that it's not Obi-Wan season 2 because they had to do that tease for it. So, but
that's some marketing person being like, "Do a tease, it'll be great."
I know, and just say hello there. Like, that's the thing with some of these. Like, I don't know how big of a fan that like the social media content drivers are for these trades and stuff. Like, they don't understand how there are people very passionate about like, oh, well, I'm more Ewan and Hayden and more Obi-Wan, and then you put that out there. Like, imagine if their tease was something about let the past die or like anything related to Adam Driver and Star Wars, and what they did the next day had nothing to do with it. I would probably have to delete my social media accounts. Just like absolute madness that would ensue.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I think it's one of those things that people just go, just put this.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, because I'll never forget one time, someone, I won't say what their name is, but I got to know them through this situation, and they were posting from a very popular TV show's social media account. It was just like a GIF of like R2-D2 or something. And everyone went absolutely nuts because they thought it was a new trailer for, Last Jedi or whatever. And the person was like, I reached out on behalf of Star Wars Newsnet at the time, and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm just a Star Wars fan, and I wanted to post that because it was Friday. And I was like, oh man. And like everyone went nuts thinking this show was going to be putting out a trailer, and it wasn't that at all. So you just got to be careful with your expectations when these social media accounts for trades that aren't really connected deeply just post things because we apply a context to it that they probably didn't. Now watch, tomorrow comes out and they're like, Empire's going to start announcing thing for us now, and now it's Obi-Wan season 2, 3, and 4, and everyone's coming back. But I don't think so. But anyway, I hope it's something cool for all of us to check out tomorrow, regardless of what it is. But we do want to thank everybody for listening and watching and being a part of TRB. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I feel like this episode flew by. There was just so much we had to talk about in this finite period of time. But talk about it more we will as we hear more information about Lando, the future of the movies, and all of that. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for subscribing, whether that's your preferred audio platform or our channel, youtube.com/@theresistance broadcast. However you take in TRB, just spread the word, tell your friends. It's always a good time, and you're a big part of that reason. So thank you very, very, very much. Make sure you do follow us on social media at TRB Podcasts. We will start using the other ones a bit more. I hope one of them does create a desktop version personally, but TRB Podcasts also on Blue Sky and Threads now, and of course Instagram and Facebook and wherever you can find us. But more importantly, listen to the show and subscribe there and rate us and all that stuff. We do have to say a special thank you to our Patreon generals and spice runners. Now, if you're a listener of TRB, you're listening to this right now, and you're like, man, I really like this podcast, and you're able to support us and you want to support us, head to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Tiers start at just $5. You get bonus episodes that are just on Patreon. We also have polls. We have calls. Actually, in about 5 minutes, we're going to be hopping on with our generals, spice runners, and our admirals over on just a chat. We get together for about an hour and we hang out. There's a lot of cool stuff on our Patreon, so check it out. If you can support us, it means a great deal to us. Thank you very much. And the big shout out to Carmelo, John RISI, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kretz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Colin Cormier, Dave Hornack, and Jolt and Jedi DiMaggio, and the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the THEFORTWORTHIAN. Thank you all so much. For me, Johnny Hoey on social media and my movie pod, Just Like the Movies. Lacey, where can people talk to you about Apple and Stanley Cups?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran and on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran and rooting on the Chiefs on Sunday.
God, go Niners. Oh God.
Go Travis.
James, how about you?
It would probably take me like 5 minutes to remember who was even playing. But I will be watching it with family. You can find me on social media at Myra Trunks, and maybe I'll post a picture of me testing out the Apple Vision Pro yesterday.
Nice.
Sweet.
Very good. All right. We hope everyone has a great weekend. If you are watching the Super Bowl, have a good time. Be safe, of course, out there. And we will see you Monday with another episode right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.